Are getting into my real-time love of human design today. I can't stop and won't stop. It's funny, if you're like in my real life friends with me, I've already said human design to you on the phone 70 times. Um, one of my friends has her own business, and we're always talking about her business. That's one of my favorite things to do. And inevitably, human design is going to come up. But basically, what she was saying was, I just can't keep up. I'm always behind. There's always things on my to-do list. And she was going off in that direction, and then she took that and seamlessly went straight into all of this, beating herself up. Um, all these thoughts, and you can tell it was a pattern of like how and why she probably shouldn't be in business and she shouldn't have started. And I pull her chart out and get it in front of me. And sure enough, her root is undefined and her ego is undefined. And so I just, to me, that relationship is so invaluable to see and witness and understand. And what I always try and get my clients to bring from that is the awareness. When you have the awareness, then you can stop that loop. So her root is telling her, she's never on time, she's never doing enough, she's just too lazy. And then that ego pattern is just waiting to be like, and I told you you're not good enough, and I told you should have never started. So whenever I was able to point to both of those things and let her know in actuality we can make this little adjustment in our minds and our behavior, and again with that awareness of what's happening here, we can actually alchemize those patterns immediately into, you're actually showing the rest of us it's okay to not have it all figured out, and it's okay to take your own timing with things. And just the look on her face when she was like, oh my gosh, it's okay. My entire life I've been told it's not okay. My entire life I've told myself it's not okay. And you're sitting here telling me that I can run a business that way. So those are the real life permission slips that human design allows us. And it's just my absolute favorite thing in the world to like see that relief and see there's always like this sigh of relief. There again, I keep making this connection where I'm tying this work into what I've always done with craniosacral therapy. Someone will come in and they're pointing to their shoulder, but in that session, you basically need permission to end up on their knee, because in craniosacral, you're listening to the body, not just the ailment. And so you're working with the body to end up where the body's asking you to go. And whenever you get there and you do the technique, they will have that same sigh of relief. And it's like the body and the business are like, ah, oh, finally somebody's listening. Somebody's not just telling me what I need to do and telling me how it is. Like I actually get to live and work inside what feels right for me. And then from there, it's an experiment of working within that, seeing how it does for you, seeing what works and what doesn't work. But in my own experience and what I've been seeing with clients is again and again and again, it's like we said, this deep permission, which leads to deep self-trust, which leads to like this certainty, like this absolute knowing, and tie your gene keys in there. And you're like, I know what it is I'm here to do. And it makes the endless possibilities of business start to kind of seep down into what is tangible and what feels right, and coming back to that again and again. And part of what I get to do is help you remember that and embody it in real time, because you can have that information, boom, it's in your head, but then life comes in and the patterns start creeping in again, and then you're like off track. And so I get to be like, hey, remember how we had you on track, and this is an experiment, and here's that moment where the patterns come in and want you to go back into that rut that you've, is so well worn. But this is actually that moment where you get to change directions and change your mind and see where that takes you. Other thing I feel like saying right now is I have poison ivy so bad. I think I got it from my cat, but isn't that terrible? Like that is all poison ivy and it's spreading over my other arm. I'm just like, oh, I woke up last night I gotta itch it. Anyways, this is all the stuff that we get to do, and those breakthroughs are so incredible. They're so much fun for me to be a part of, and then that is really sacred work for me too, to get to uncover that alongside you and get to be in this space where somebody trusts me enough to put those patterns in place and be able to see them and then speak that with them. And then, they've done so much inner work already. They're ready to see it, willing to hear it, ready to make those changes. But a lot of times those changes, like I said, are just more permission and more like relaxing into who you are already and knowing that it's okay and that that's correct for you. So, the pattern though between the root and the ego. So my root is defined, and for me that just kind of feels like oh, I have a list of things to do. Oh, I'm going to get this done, and then I'm going to get that done, and then I'm going to be done, and then I'm going to relax. And so it's just kind of like this checklist that I kind of don't give too much thought to and just kind of relax into and know that that's all kind of there. But if you're sitting there next to me with your root open, like I said, my friend, she was just like, and I can't ever get anything done, and there's so much to do all the time, and I'm so far behind. And so if that's you, get your chart and check it out and see if your root's defined, and then also look and see if your ego is also defined so that you can start to notice that pattern. The ego is really tricky. It's really interesting though. And then again, having that information by our sides whenever we have those hard days, it feels like some days are just hard and there's something there for us. But I've said that on here before, like the more we can relax into it, the better. But it's just always helpful to have this information so that we can look it through and see where some of this is coming from, so we can look at it with new eyes and a new angle and a new lens, to allow ourselves the time and space to be able to work through that within the awareness, instead of just, otherwise, there's my poison ivy, just swimming in this pool of emotion and like not being able to tell which way's up and which way's down. And it's like, you can run your business that way. It's doable, but it's going to be very difficult. And you're going to dive back into these patterns again and again and again and again. So with human design and gene keys, we can start to spot them and start to understand them and bring that awareness. Like I said, it's just like craniosacral therapy, where we find that energy cyst. And then instead of like swimming around in it and jumping back into it in a week or two, and then a week or two, same pattern again and again, we're sitting with it and resting with it and being still with it and gentle and listening, and it starts to slow it down. And that pattern could come up again for you, but there's so much more awareness around it now. I'm gonna go put more calamine lotion on this. I'm just like, can't get it out of it. So I've been mentioning in the group, but the best place to start is to go get your chart if you haven't already. And there's the business snapshot there that's unique to you and totally free. And that's a great place to be like, if you already know your human design, there may still be some information there, especially if you haven't come to your business with your human design. Some people in here are familiar with human design, but not how it relates to your business. So the snapshot's going to be really great for that. And then if you go to the bottom of the snapshot, there's a place to click and book your clear next step, which is a session with me where we get to integrate what's going on in the snapshot, dive straight into where you feel stuck and what's not working. And with your chart next to us, we can get that insight that's particular to you. So if you need your chart, go ahead and just DM me chart. I'll probably drop the link below. And then if you'd like to book your clear next step, DM me step and I'll send that to you too. And don't forget, your business is medicine as long as you let it be.